David Bowman, the tutoring coordinator for the BCSCR project of the Three Rivers Education Foundation. BCSCR is building communities that support children's reading. And before I say anything else, this is a personal message to all of the folks that served as reading tutors this year through the BCSCR project. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You have helped these kids learn to read well, and the results show it. You have worked very hard, I know, I recognize that, and you've made a significant difference in the lives of these children. You know, I know that serving as a reading tutor is a challenge. I know it's a lot of work. And you know, the majority of tutors are also classroom teachers, which means you had to go through all of the work of the assessments and all the testing that took place, and then the end of the year struggles and keeping kids motivated and all of that. And being a teacher is hard work, and then you take this on top of that. And it's a lot. But you did it, right? And you made a big difference in these kids' lives. I'll tell you about the results here in a second. But before I say anything else, I want to say thank you. Thank you on behalf of all of these kids. Thank you on behalf of their parents. So what did we do this year? Well, at a very bottom level, base level, we provided 32 hours of tutoring in reading to about 2,500 students. Based on the pre-test results, what we know is that only 4% of these kids were reading on grade level when they entered the program. So they're struggling readers. And think about that, what that means for a child. And many of these kids were not just a little behind their grade level. We had many kids who were 1, 2, 3, and in some cases 4 and 5 years behind in their reading ability. These were kids that truly needed something different than what they were getting in the classroom. They needed a different approach. They needed somebody who could truly focus on their individual needs and design instructional opportunities to meet them. And the results that we have seen, which I'm going to talk about, show that we were very effective in meeting the needs of these kids. So think about what it means if a child is behind in reading. It means that the child is going to have a hard time accessing the instructional content in language arts and in math and science and social studies and all the other academic areas. They have a hard time interpreting the instructional resources and materials. It makes it very difficult for them to learn and to demonstrate their learning in an academic sense. But think also what it means emotionally and socially for a child. A child who is struggling year after year and falling farther and farther behind is going to develop a mindset that I'm a failure, I'm stupid, I can't do this, it's too hard, why should I bother? Right? And so the child doesn't try. And even if the child is interested in a particular topic, what does that child think? I'm not going to do it because I'm going to fail, right? So when we come in with this tutoring program, this intervention, this reading program, not only do we help kids perform better academically, but we also help them to think very differently about themselves as learners. We see this, and I see this from the testimonials that I get from parents and teachers. We start with a lot of kids who hate school, who don't think they can learn, who are troublemakers in the classroom, who are acting out, kids who think they're too stupid. And now we end up with kids who say, I'm interested in learning. I can do this, right? It's hard, but I think I can do it, right? I'm going to really try. I am not too stupid to do this. I'm smart enough, and I'm going to show it. That's what I hear from the parents and the teachers and so on. That's what I hear in the letters I get in my email every week, where the parents say, my kid hated school. My kid was struggling, but now he's interested in going. And he shows me what he's learning in school. And he hated reading, but now he brings home books and he reads them in the evening, right? So if we think about what did we do this year, not only did we help kids academically, but we also help them change the way they think about themselves so that as other things come up that are challenging, instead of shying away from it for fear of failure, they approach it with a sense of confidence. I can do this. I can learn. I'm smart enough. So that's what we really did this year. So let's think about the results for a second. So with 2,500 kids, not every child took the post-test. The vast majority did. And we have a few kids that are still have yet to take the post-test, who's maybe got started late, and so they're ending a little bit late too. But we have the majority of results. And what the results tell us is that overall we've made about a year's, the kids on average made about a full year's progress in their reading ability. So think about what that means. So the tutoring period was about 4 months. 4 months is a third of a year. So a child who is progressing normally, as expected, should make a year's growth in a year's time. So if we think about a third of a year, 4 months, then a child should make about a third of a year's progress. Does it happen in every case? No, of course not. Obviously we have to look at enough kids, and it's an average. But on average, kids should make about a third of a year's growth in a third of a year's time. But the kids in the BCSCR program average about a full year's gain in the same amount of time. So if we say, without any interventions and without any other support, just what happens in the regular classroom, the kids should make about a third of a year, 0.3 let's say, 3 years. So the difference between that 0.3 and the full year of growth, we can attribute to interventions that took place during that time. And for the majority of these kids, the most important intervention was the reading tutoring program. So we have kids that make their normal third year gain, let's say, and then we come in and add another 0.67 year. What that means is that the reading program, the reading tutoring, helped kids to accelerate their growth at a rate twice that of what they would get in the normal classroom. Instead of a 0.33, we have done a 0.67. And in total, we see an average about a 1 year's gain. So, are those the final results? No. I do have some data cleanup to do, and I'm working with the regional coordinators to do that. We know that some kids dropped out early because they started late, they weren't able to get the full 32 hours. We know that in some cases the tutors didn't follow the BCSCR reading program. So we have to think about these kinds of things. But even with all of those data in the existing results, we're still showing about a full year's gain. Which means as I start to clean up the data, then the average gain is going to increase above and beyond a full year. So I'm pleased. I'm actually very pleased with this. We have made a huge difference in these children's lives, and again, both academically and emotionally and personally, we've made a huge difference in their lives. So the best results, so as we look at who's showing, which tutors' kids made the most gains, and what are those tutors doing? Well, what we found is that the tutors that showed the best gain for their kids are the ones who most carefully follow the BCSCR program. The program is built on very solid research about what works and what makes sense for reading instruction. What is the optimal condition, the optimal instruction for reading. That's what the BCSCR project was built on. So we have those small groups of 3 or 4. We have those 6 skill sets within reading, the phonemic awareness, phonics, fluency, vocabulary, comprehension, and oral language development. And the tutors that made sure that they were providing instruction in each of those areas and that they were integrating those areas into instructional activities, those are the ones whose kids had the very best results. Matter of fact, I was looking at one student's results today. One of the coordinators came to me very excited and said, look at this. Look at what this tutor did. So I'm expecting to see something about the tutor, right? What the coordinator gives me is a child's results from the iReady, the pre-post. So this is a 6th grade child. At the pre-test was reading at the 2nd grade level, just right smack in the middle of the 2nd grade level. That same child, after 32 hours of tutoring, is now right smack in the middle of the 6th grade. So that is a 4 grade level jump. And not only is it a huge jump in reading ability, but that child is now on grade level. Whereas before, the child was 4 years behind in reading ability. And I'm seeing this again and again and again, right? We have a lot of kids that, they made 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3 years growth in reading. When we started, we had that 4% that were already on grade level. And right now, it looks like we're at about 40%. Now again, I've got some data cleanup to do, right, to see which kids had those experiences that were true representation of the BCSCR approach. But even with everybody's data in place, no cleanup, we've got about 40% of the kids that are reading on grade level who were not reading on grade level before, or 36 percentage point increase in the kids who are on grade level. And that is a fantastic result. And that is because you all, as the tutors, really took it to heart that you want to help kids read, you want to help them succeed, and you're going to follow the effective approach that we've laid out for BCSCR. And the results demonstrate again and again, child after child after child, that approach works. And as you implement it, you see these types of gains in your students. I mean, the data don't lie. They are what they are, right? Now, in some cases, we didn't see that type of growth, right? But when we look at what is the overall effect of the BCSCR program, we're seeing that it makes a very substantial difference in children's ability to read. And that ultimately is the hard work that you all did over the course of this spring semester. And for that, I want to say a very heartfelt and a very enthusiastic thank you very much. So to conclude, I know many of you are thinking about, are you going to come back and tutor next year? And probably almost all of you are thinking, boy, I really need a vacation right now. It has been a tough semester. So I hope you have a good summer. I hope you enjoy yourself. I hope you get some very much deserved rest, some personal time, some rejuvenation time, and I look forward to seeing you again in the fall. Thank you on behalf of the kids and on behalf of their parents. Thank you.